Most of us know him as the man who sat under an apple tree and unlocked the secrets of the universe when a piece of fruit fell on his head. But the true story of Isaac Newton is far more intense and strange than any children's fable. He was a man of immense contradictions. He was a lonely student who revolutionized mathematics, a secretive alchemist who looked for the philosopher's stone, and a ruthless master of the mint who hunted down counterfeiters. Newton didn't just discover gravity. He rewrote the operating system of the human mind. Today we are going to explore the life of the man who defined the laws of nature and see how his relentless focus can serve as a blueprint for success in our own lives. Newton's life almost ended before it truly began. He was born prematurely on Christmas Day in 1642 and was so tiny that his mother said he could have fit inside a quart mug. No one expected him to survive the night. He grew up as a fatherless and solitary child with a deep resentment toward his mother after she remarried and left him with his grandmother. This early isolation forged a man who was fiercely independent and socially awkward. He didn't have many friends and he never married. Instead, he directed every ounce of his emotional energy into the pursuit of absolute truth. The story of Newton's greatest breakthroughs begins in a moment of global crisis. In 1665, the Great Plague of London forced the University of Cambridge to close its doors. Newton, who was a 22-year-old student at the time, had to retreat to his family home at Woolsthorpe Manor. For 18 months he was isolated from the world. This period is now known as his Annus Mirabilis or Year of Wonders. While the rest of the world was living in fear of a pandemic, Newton was quietly inventing calculus, developing a new theory of light, and conceptualizing the laws of motion. This reminds us that periods of forced isolation or quiet time can often be the most productive moments of our careers if we have the discipline to focus. The famous apple story happened during this time in the Garden of Woolsthorpe. Newton didn't just get hit on the head and suddenly understand gravity. Instead, he saw an apple fall and asked a revolutionary question. Why does the apple always fall straight down to the center of the earth? Why does it not go sideways or upwards? He realized that the same force pulling the apple to the ground was the very same force keeping the moon in orbit around the earth. He eventually formulated the universal law of gravitation, which is represented by the formula F equals gm1 m2 r2. This was a massive conceptual leap. Before Newton, people believed that the laws of the heavens were different from the laws of Earth. Newton proved that the universe is a single and unified system governed by the same mathematical rules. Newton's work on light was equally groundbreaking. At the time, people believed that white light was a pure entity and that colors were created when light was corrupted by passing through glass or water. Newton bought a simple glass prism at a local fair and performed an experiment in his darkened room. He allowed a tiny beam of sunlight to pass through the prism and saw it split into a beautiful rainbow. To prove that the colors were already inside the light and not created by the glass, he used a second prism to merge the rainbow back into a single beam of white light. This experiment laid the foundation for modern optics and changed the way we understand everything from the color of the sky to the technology in our smartphone screens. However, Newton's findings were not immediately accepted. He spent years defending his work against Robert Hooke, a prominent scientist who claimed Newton had stolen his ideas. This rivalry became so bitter that Newton waited until after Hooke died to publish his book Optics. Newton was famously sensitive to criticism, and he often went into fits of rage or deep depression when his work was questioned. He had a similar conflict with Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz over who invented calculus first. This rivalry shows that being a genius is not enough. You must also be able to communicate your ideas and defend your territory in the professional world. In his later years, Newton moved away from pure science and into the world of finance and power. He became the master of the Royal Mint in London. This wasn't just a ceremonial role. At the time, the British economy was in shambles because of counterfeiters. Newton took it upon himself to hunt down criminals who were clipping and forging coins. He used his scientific precision to track down the most notorious counterfeiters, even going undercover into the dark taverns of London to gather evidence. His greatest adversary was a master counterfeiter named William Challoner. Challoner was a genius criminal who had managed to bribe officials and escape justice for years. Newton was relentless. He interviewed hundreds of witnesses and built a forensic case that eventually sent Challoner to the gallows. He applied the same rigorous logic to the British economy that he had applied to the solar system, helping to establish the gold standard which stabilized the nation's wealth for centuries. One of the most surprising aspects of Newton's life was his obsession with alchemy and theology. He spent more time writing about the hidden codes in the Bible and the chemical secrets of lead and gold than he did on physics. He believed that the universe was a giant puzzle left by a divine creator and that his job was to solve it. He spent countless nights in his lab inhaling mercury fumes and sulfur while trying to find the philosopher's stone. Modern hair analysis performed on samples of Newton's hair showed that he likely suffered from mercury poisoning. This might explain his eccentric behavior and his later mental breakdowns. He was a man who literally risked his life and sanity to understand the fabric of reality. Newton's legacy is summarized in his masterpiece, The Principia Mathematica. This book is often cited as the most important scientific work ever written. In it, he laid out the 3 laws of motion that we still use today to build bridges and fly planes and land rovers on Mars. He established that an object at rest stays at rest unless acted upon by an external force. He showed that acceleration is dependent upon the net force and mass of the object, which we know as $F equals mass. And he proved that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. He once famously said that if he had seen further than others, it was by standing on the shoulders of giants. This humility, despite his massive ego, is a vital lesson. Success is a collaborative process, and we build our achievements on the knowledge of those who came before us. In our daily lives, we can apply Newton's principles by practicing deep work. Newton was known to become so absorbed in his problems that he would forget to eat or sleep for days. His cats supposedly grew fat because they would eat the food he left untouched on his plate. While we need balance, his ability to eliminate distractions is exactly what is missing in our modern world of notifications and social media. Newton proved that a single mind, when focused with enough intensity, can literally move the world. Whether you are studying for a degree or launching a business or trying to master a new skill, remember that the gravity of your focus is what determines your ultimate success. Thank you for exploring the life of the master of the universe with me today. Isaac Newton's journey from a quiet farm to the heights of scientific royalty is a testament to the power of human curiosity. If this deep dive into the mind of a genius gave you a new perspective on focus and discipline, please hit the like button. It helps our community grow and ensures these stories keep reaching people. What do you find most fascinating about Newton? Is it his laws of motion or his secret life as a detective at the Mint? Let me know in the comments below because I love hearing your thoughts. If you want to keep unlocking the secrets of the past and the science of the future, make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell. Until next time, stay curious and keep reaching for the stars.